What's up, y'all? Thank y'all for coming back. Thank y'all for tuning into this video. This video is going to be the first real video, and it's going to be my testimony. My testimony, I'm letting y'all into my life. And it's going to be a little hard because I never really spoke about my life on camera. But, God saved me, man. God saved my life. And I've had a lot of people in my life say, like, yo, you shouldn't talk about your life like that. But for some reason, the more you get closer to God, he wants to use your life to bless others. And that's what I realized. So right now, today, y'all about to watch my testimony. I'm about to let y'all into my life and how I got closer to God. So please bear with me. This is kind of hard. It's a little scary too because people try to make it like it's a bad thing, but I know God will use it for good, right? And God is going to bless other people. So, all right, I'm going to start from the beginning because that's where it all began. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, Flatbush. If you're from New York, if you're from the boroughs, then you know about that, right? You know about Flatbush, Brooklyn, New York, especially in the 80s and the 90s. It was a little different right now. It's more gentrified, but that's where I was born, in Brookdale Hospital. And, my life was, I'm going to say it was a statistic. Reason why I say that is because I had a parent. My father, he did certain things and he got locked up. I also was born in this neighborhood, in this environment where a lot of things went on. Like, we had the boys on the corner. They would do their thing. They was selling drugs on the corner and they would have shootouts and stuff like that too. Like people would get killed on my block. I even remember what's so crazy is this is something I'll never forget. I remember walking out the house one day with my mom and her car was gone. Her car was gone. I'm seeing this at a young age. You feel what I'm saying? I'm hearing gunshots at night. When I'm a kid, I used to be afraid to go to sleep in my room. I ain't even gonna lie. Afraid to go to sleep. Want to be in the room with my mom and my dad because I would hear gunshots at night sometimes, man. And that's scary. Like, I'm a little kid, you know what I'm saying? So this is just the beginning, right? So looking at that, just the beginning of my life, the world, society has a statistic on me, right? Either you not going to live to a certain age or you going to go to jail. That's just one part, right? My dad ended up leaving me at a young age when I was like 10. And then a little bit after that, my mother ended up sending me to VA to live with my grandparents because my grandparents ended up getting retired. They lived in New York for some years, but they retired from New York. Well, from where they was working at. My grandma worked at Chase Bank. My grandfather was a driver of the bus. So I ended up moving to Virginia, live with my grandparents. Brunswick County. I ended up moving to Brunswick County to live with my grandparents. I guess that was a way for my mom to get me away from the streets, right? Because it was just inevitable that I was going to be in the streets. I had a cousin, he had started being in the streets with my first cousin, and he lived up the block, 1 block away. And the funny thing is, my block used to beef with his block. So my mother ended up sending me away. I guess she was trying to protect me, right? I didn't know everything that was going on with my father. I don't even know if that had a part to do with it, right? Of the things that he did, but she sent me away, I guess, to protect me. I didn't understand at the time. I ended up going to Virginia. I guess she was trying to keep me out of the street, all that. Funny thing is, I get to Virginia, and a lot of the people around me, friends, family, they all doing the same things now. Down there, it ain't like how it was where I was, like people not getting shot on the block and stuff like that. But drugs, man, the drugs everywhere. It was fiends or people that do drugs. They was everywhere too, man. So I'm basically growing up in this environment. And the funny thing is, I did end up living with my grandparents, and I want to say this. I really want to say this. My grandfather is a good man. My grandfather's a good man. I love him to death, right? He's a real man, real good man. And they are the ones that I first started to, I guess, encounter Christian people, right? I end up moving with my grandparents, and they, as soon as I get there, they start making me go to church. Like, I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, I gotta put they making me put on a suit. Like, do you know how I felt? I felt so upset. You trying to make me put on this? My grandma will literally take me to like J.C. Penney, Macy's, go get a suit, get my pants hemmed up and all of that, right? And take me to church. I can't remember. I think this might have been middle school. I can't even remember. But I started to go to church and all of that, right? Now, I'm in church, but I really don't care. I really don't know nothing about this. Like, I don't know nothing about church at all, right? So I'm in there falling asleep every chance I get, not paying no attention. Again, this is just the beginning, so I'm giving y'all a story, so please bear with me. It's all gonna make sense at the end. I know it's long, forgive me. I love y'all for being here, please stay. But this is my testimony, man. So, you know, I got the church in my life now. I don't really know what it is, but I still got the outside. I still got the thugs and the environment that's around me, right? In school, it's the same thing. A bunch of dudes that act the way. They all look the same. They look the same like from when I came from New York down to VA, right? Of course they dress different, but the mentality was the same. The mentality was the same. So everybody is doing the same things. I don't know what else to do. Like I start to become a product of my environment, and I guess if that's what you want to say, right? I mean, what else am I supposed to do? Right? I don't know nothing else right now. I'm growing up. I'm trying to find an identity, right? So I ended up falling into that. And at the same time, I also want to put this in there because I didn't bring this up. I actually started playing basketball when I was in New York. And I love basketball. That's one thing about me. I love basketball. So when I moved to Virginia, I'm still playing basketball. When I was in New York, I used to play in Prospect Park and all these other teams and all that. Get to Virginia, I'm still playing basketball because I got my cousins that play basketball. That's what we did when I got to Virginia, right? So yeah, I got my family like that, but I still got all these other friends and family members that do these things, right? And what's funny is maybe I was more appealing to it, I guess, because girls, right? The girls and these are the people that's around me, right? These are people that supposed to love me, and I'm around, so I start to be like that, right? Like to keep it a stack, like I start to be like that. You start to become like what you're around, and that's what I started to do. So while I'm in middle school, you know, I'm becoming this way, and I start to hang with them type of dudes, man. They just seem so similar to me, like so familiar. Like this is how my family is in New York. Like my family talk like this in slang, and they act like this too. Like y'all remind me of that. So I start to get pulled towards them. You know what I'm saying? Like I get pulled towards them, and they pull towards me too, cause I'm a specific way. And I'm not saying I'm a bad guy. This is just what was familiar. This is what I knew, right? And it just like we connect with each other. That's just how I feel. Because they like me. They are like me. We are like each other. So we're connected. We're pulled towards each other. So I start to become friends like that. I get on the basketball team though. I end up getting on the basketball team because I love basketball, but I'm still hanging with these guys. Next thing you know, man, I get kicked off the basketball team. I got kicked off the basketball team because, this is crazy. The coach ended up asking me or telling me, giving me an ultimatum about picking a team or hanging with these dudes. I chose, I felt like that was wrong. So anyway, I get kicked off the basketball team. No, this is the 8th grade. I end up getting kicked off. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me go back. 7th grade, I get kicked out of school. In 7th grade, I get kicked out of school for having a knife. I got kicked out of school for having a knife. And then When I got kicked out of school, I ended up actually going to an alternative school where I actually did scared straight. I had to do literally, I had to be in a scared straight little situation, whatever you want to call it, where we had to go to the jail, and I guess they was trying to scare us, right? Like, I remember one dude, he was a homosexual, but he didn't look like it. He was trying to put fear in us like crazy, right? So after that, it's the next year, a school. I was on the basketball team that year. The next year, I tried to get back on the basketball team. The coach said I'm on it, but then I guess he see the guys that I'm hanging with, and he's like, yo, either you gonna hang with these guys or you gonna be on the basketball team. And I'm like, what? Man, get on my face. I ended up choosing that, right? I guess that was my pride. I was mad because, like, why you coming to me like that? Like, ain't nobody else on the team acting like this or whatever. But anyway, I get kicked out of school, get kicked off the basketball team. I'm just going through these little phases in my life. My grandparents is mad at me. And I just, I don't understand. I'm also going through this anger that I got. I'm going through a whole lot of anger. During these years, I was going through a whole lot of anger. So I guess I was acting out. I don't know, man. But I'm in school now, and this is when sex starts. I'm still in church. My grandparents still making me go to church like every Sunday, even making me go to Sunday school, all of that. And what happened? I end up getting in a relationship, and that's when sex got revealed to me, man. Well, that's what I remember, right? 8th grade, I started having sex now. Not to mention, my mother has not moved to Virginia yet. So my mother's still in New York. I'm in Virginia with my grandparents. So I'm going through all of this, and I'm learning things, and girls is new, but like sex is just so heightened in my life. And as I get older, I'm just so into clothes and girls and being respected. And I guess I wanted to be respected. I wanted to be in cool. Like my family, the guys that was doing, certain things, like street things, like they was cool, man. They was fly. They look like rappers. I ain't even gonna lie. Like they look like rappers. I love them too. They my cousins, man. And I wanted to be just like them. I wanted to be just like them. So, I wanted to look like them. And plus, I'm from New York. So, in New York, you fly. So, my family in New York, they fly too. So I want to, I'm trying to match up. I guess I ended up being confused, like trying to fit in or whatever. Anyway, I get through that phase of my life. I end up getting back in school. Now it's high school. In high school, doing the same things, man. Just chasing after girls. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm chasing after girls. I'm chasing after booty. I'm chasing after sex, man. I'm going crazy. Still trying to be the fly guy. Literally trying to be the fly guy. I'm always trying to get sneakers, always trying to get Jordans, always trying to get clothes. Literally. During that time, this is when I started beefing with dudes, man. I started getting into beefs in school. Got a relationship. I'm having crazy sex. Girls is liking me. Girls is loving me. It's like I'm starting to get addicted to this, right? And I'm still around my cousins and all that. I'm still around this stuff. But now your boy want to dabble. I want to dibble and dabble. So now I start getting the idea like, yo, I could do this too, right? And when I say do this, it's like, yo, the drugs, right? Like, I could sell drugs too, right? So, I hit up somebody, they hit me back or whatever. So now I'm kind of doing some things at a young age in high school. And this ain't weed. This is not weed, bro. Literally, this ain't weed. This is some stuff that could really get you locked up, right? Like some hard, if you get what I'm saying, that can get you locked up. So now what's funny is I'm just doing a lot of nonsense, I guess, right? Not to mention other things that I was doing, man. I get my license, and then that's when all of this started. As soon as I got my license, it's like this when all of that started. I wanna be a drug dealer now. I wanna be the flyest guy. I want all the girls, man. That's just how it was. And it was easy access for me. It was easy access for me. Like I already had girls back then. Not I'm just speaking about my life. I already had girls, so I knew girls was feeling me. I knew if I was fly, if I could dress nice, if I had the nicest sneakers, if I had the nicest hat, because hats was back then, and I had throwbacks. If y'all know anything about throwbacks, throwbacks came out when I was in high school, man. Real throwbacks, like authentic, like Mitchell and Ness. So they was like $200-300, $400 for a jersey. And you know, we used to wear the big tees, the long tees back then. So, you know, I'm in this lifestyle. Well, I'm trying to get in this lifestyle. Selling drugs. I got my man with me, you know, all my cousins, you know, stuff like that. And I get into this dealing phase in my life, and you know, things just start happening. I remember when, you know, the people got indicted, and then I didn't get caught for nothing. Like, I guess I wasn't on the radar, and yes, I wasn't doing much of what they were doing because I was just now starting out, right? But I was on it heavy. I used to skip school and all of that, and next thing you know, everybody get indicted, and you know, nothing happened to me. And when nothing happened to me, what came in my mind was, yo, Rudy, you could get the connect, you could be even bigger, right? And tell everybody good. That's what started coming up in my mind. And I remember one time in school. This is a one time when I knew God loved me, man. I remember going to school. I'm not gonna tell you the whole story because I'm gonna do another my testimony. But I remember going to school. I had it on me, right? I think I had like a small amount on me in the school, and the cops came. The cops were supposed to raid the school that day, man, right? And nothing happened. Nothing happened to me. Nothing happened to me. Let's just say God protected me. I ain't gonna tell you the whole story because I'm gonna tell it in another testimony. But just know that happened. But during this time, it's just so crazy because things just started to happen in my life, right? Like it's like I felt like I was invincible in a way because I remember I got stopped by the cops. My man in the car, we got stuff in the car, and I remember I get stopped by the cops, and I'm like, yo, throw it in the speaker, right? Next thing you know, cop don't touch us, cop don't check nothing, don't smell nothing. I get away, boom, right? And it's just crazy, man, how things happened. And you know, just looking at my life and the way that I was doing things, it just seems like I should have gotten locked up, right? Like, it just seems like that, right? And again, people started getting indicted and all that, and then next thing you know, I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to do this. But I want to keep it real too. Another thing that happened in my life was my cousin. My cousin had a husband. He went to school. He was a computer consultant. And I remember I used to go to their house down by the beach. I used to go to their house a lot. And I remember he had like a Benz. They had just got a Range Rover, and they had just built a house from the ground up. I remember he saying he paid $10,000 for that ring. And he was the first guy that I had seen that was making all this money that wasn't involved in anything illegal, wasn't involved in drugs. Now, I had been around all these drug dealers. I had literally been in a trap house at a young age. Didn't know it was a trap house. I didn't know it was a trap house at the time. I was too young. I just was, seeing people go in and out. I was seeing a bunch of drug dealers. They got on their chains. People going in and out the house. People had dogs around. They had cameras. I didn't know until I got older. I started to learn it. But I'm seeing all of this. I used to see drug dealers pull out stacks. But for some reason, when I saw him, I'm like, yo, maybe I could change this, right? So I ended up graduating from high school. I ended up stopping. I didn't want to sell no more drugs no more because things was happening to people. I just didn't want to be involved in that. And I remember I never took a SAT or anything, and I ended up getting, I ended up going to a school for, I ended up going to a school for welding. I was good at welding, and I was good at computers in school, but I was good at welding. So I'm like, this is something I could fall back on. And it's crazy because my grandma used to even get mad at me because she was thinking that I wasn't gonna graduate from school. But anyway, let me get back on track, y'all. So a lot of stuff happened in my life, and at this point in my life, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I was gonna do with my life. I didn't know if I could get a good job or whatever. I ended up not getting the job with welding because I tried to get a job with welding. I tried to actually go to apprentice school. They didn't let me in. They said I needed some more school credits or whatever. And I ended up trying to go to community college to do a welding course. And they let me get the course. So I got one course with the welding class, and then I tried to get a job in that field. They wasn't having it. I guess I wasn't good enough. I don't know. And my uncle was like, yo, why don't you try to get into this school, this college? And I'm like, how am I gonna get into the college? I never took a SAT ever. And he's like, no, I got you. Just try, just apply. I ended up applying, and because he was the librarian, so he was like, you try to do work study, and then you could work over here too and make some money. So I ended up getting into the school. I don't know how. Matter of fact, I do remember. They said that because I took that one welding class, that was a college course. And because I had that college course, I had a GPA in college, that they could take that. And they let me in school because I ended up getting a B. And a B stands for a 3.0. I was like, yo, that's crazy. Your boy ain't never take a SAT ever in his life. Never thought that I'll ever go to college. Nobody ever said anything to me about college. That's crazy. I remember that nobody ever said anything to me about college, man. But it's crazy. God ended up getting me in college. Anyway, let me keep going. I ended up getting in college. I ended up doing good in that college. I went for computer information systems. You see how that works? That's crazy, right? Because once I got into the school, I'm like, yo, what could I do? And I remember he worked in computers and making a lot of money. But I also remember I was good in computers when I was in school. I was good at typing and everything. Like, I passed the computer classes easy. I don't know why, but I did. So I ended up going for computer science. I went for computer science, and this school was where I actually lived at. And I'm like, you know what, man, I gotta get up out of here. I don't want to be here no more because all the girls, and then the beef and all this other nonsense in past relationships. And I was like, yo, I gotta get up out of here. So I ended up applying for 3 schools. But the thing is, I ended up getting a 3.6, something like that, in that one semester that I was there. And I had work study. But I ended up getting into all 3 schools. But I had to choose one. My family was like, they didn't want me to go to no party school. And me, I'm not really a partying type guy. But they like, nah, I don't go to no party school, whatever. So my family's like, nah, they don't want me to go to no party school. So I ended up picking a school that one of my cousins went to. He had got a full scholarship. And I ended up picking that school because I didn't hear it was a party school. I ended up getting accepted in that school, obviously, right? So I took it, ended up going, but I went for computer information in this school. During that time, what's crazy is I was in a relationship when I first went to that school. And when I also got there, one thing that I told myself was, do not become friends with people. Like, this is what I told myself, because for some reason I attract the thugs around me, right? I attract the dudes, that's the bad guys or whatever. I attract them around me for some reason. So I'm like, yo, I told myself don't be friends. I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't want to be friends with nobody because I ain't want to get in no trouble. I didn't want none of that to happen. So I get in school, I'm making some friends, but I'm trying not to really make friends. I had a roommate, he was cool, whatever. But we was playing games back then. I was playing PS2. PS2 was out back then for the young people. I had PS2, we playing all day, every day. I also was selling CDs too. But then next thing you know, I'm in school, people smoking weed, right? And I used to smoke weed back then, but I never like sold weed or anything like that. It was other drugs that I was selling, right? So I get to school, I'm not, I'm cool with people, but I ain't really trying to be close with people. Next thing I know, I end up getting cool with a guy, one of my mans. He just like me. And he from New Jersey, right? So I end up getting cool with him, whatever. He ended up asking me, for a ride and all of this stuff. So next thing you know, I'm getting cool with everybody else that's just like him, that's just like me. And then some other people too, right? But now I'm cool with the guys who smoke weed, who lived in areas that I lived in, again, right? That was around, like, so now I'm getting close with these guys, and they're my mans, and I also got other friends too. I'm going to school, all of that. We all chilling and stuff. Next thing you know, your boy doing it again. I'm in college, selling drugs. But this time it's just weed, though. It's weed. And, and then the relationships, the girls. I told myself another thing also. I said, I'm not dressing like this no more. I ain't buying no more Jordans, no nothing. And it's about to get good, y'all. It's about to get good. My life came back to me when I got to college. So now I'm in school. I'm doing all these same things. A lot of things is happening in my life. I start to look back at my life, right? Because back then in the day, me and my grandfather were getting some arguments because he would be trying to tell me stuff and I wouldn't listen, right? And I want y'all to know, even back then, my grandma, when I was younger, my grandma would say that she was praying for me. And, I never really thought what that meant. But at this time in my life, I'm literally sitting down on my bed in my dorm room thinking about my life. And I'm like, yo, my grandfather was right. Everything that he told me was right. Like, I thought that I was so smart, but when it came to friends, when it came to things that I should have did, when it came to how people treated me, all of that, my grandfather was right, man. And then I started to think about also, like, why God kept protecting me. This is skims in my mind. Like, it's really not even heavy yet. Why did God keep protecting me? Like it's a lot of my friends that went to jail. It's a lot of my friends that got caught up in situations. It's starting to look clear to me, right? So, I brush it off. I'm still going to school, whatever I'm doing, what I'm doing. Now it come to a year where I get kicked out of school. I'm in college. I end up getting kicked out of college. That's a fact. I got kicked out. Now, they said I was suspended, but your boy had to reapply, right? And during this time, man, I went through so many things. I'm going to talk about that in another testimony, but I went through so many things, yo, from ruined relationships to anger issues, everything, man. But I just want y'all to know, I started to realize that God was protecting me and God saving my life. Eventually, it came to realization after I got kicked out of school. I can't even lie. After I got kicked out of school, I said, I don't want no more friends. I can't keep doing the same things. Like, I don't understand this, man. Why do I keep getting put in these situations? Why am I not even put in? Why do I keep getting myself in these situations? How? And that's when I would go back to God, right? Like, yo, my grandma said that she kept praying for me. How am I getting in these situations but nothing actually happening to me? How? Why haven't I ever got locked up from the things that I did? Why didn't all this other stuff happen? Because I used to, it was mad fights around me. It was mad shootings around me, and nothing really bad ever happened to me, man. I did things. I don't think that I was a bad guy or a bad boy, but I did bad things. I did street things, right? I don't consider myself a real street guy, but I did street things that would have gotten me locked up. So to come all back, like to bring it all back, look at how my life was set up, right? It's crazy how my life was set up. And then God kept protecting me and saving me. Now, I want y'all to know I ended up actually stopping my life when it came to friends. I ended up trying to stop really making friends, and I was just on a pause. And I eventually ended up going back to the school because during that time when I got suspended, I ended up taking some courses at a community college. And after that, I kept applying, I kept gaining relationships with people at the school. And next thing you know, I ended up getting back into the school. When I got back into school, I changed everything, man. Eventually, I graduated. Once I graduated, I got into another relationship, and I got into this new relationship, right? This is another bad relationship, and obviously, right? Y'all know it's me too, right? So I could say, the girls did things. Yeah, they did things, but at the end of the day, it was me. It was me and my life, the way that I saw things, the way that I viewed things, and the things that I didn't see about myself that came from my past. But I remember I was in this relationship, and I went to this church. I remember going to this church. I hadn't been to church in mad long. I remember going to this church with my girlfriend at the time. And me, I got on Tim's, I got on my jeans, I got a polo shirt, fitted hat. I'm like, yo, I'm going to the church just like this, man. But at the time, I didn't see myself as in, as a church boy, nothing like that. I felt like you gonna look at me in a specific way. But I went, and what's funny is that day when I went to church, the pastor set up everybody. The pastor called everybody to the altar, right? I'm over there sitting like, man, I ain't going to no altar, man. I hope she don't go up there. Guess what? She went, her mother went, and I had to get up, so I went too. That day, the pastor lined up everybody in the altar, and he went through everybody, touching their head and talking to them and all that other stuff, right? Because in my mind, I'm like, man, what is this dude doing, man? Come on, man. And I'm also afraid because I'm like, man, what he gonna say to me, right? I was the last person. You know what he did? He stopped. And he was like, you know what? I started from that end. God is my witness this happened. He said, I started from that end just so I can get to you now. Literally, he said this. This is crazy, right? It's crazy to me because at the time, I'm like, man, whatever. Literally, I'm like, man, whatever. But he's like, you know what? I can't remember everything he said verbatim, But I remember little small things because this was back in like 2010. And I'm like, no, he's like, you know, I saw you when you were sitting down and I wanted to speak to you. And he said, I did this whole thing just so I could get to you too. You was one main person that I wanted to get to. And then he started to say like, you're a great man. And he says, you've been through some things. And he said, you try to help a lot of people. You really try to help a lot of people. And I want you to know that God knows that. And God loves you. You've been through a lot of things. And God is using you. And there's a lot of people that you're trying to help, because I would always try to help people. That's even though I acted away, I was always trying to help and be there and talk to people, whatever. And a lot of people wouldn't listen to me. So he's like, and a lot of people, and a lot of them are not listening to you. They don't want to listen to you. And I'm like, yo, what? That's similar, especially my ex. She didn't want to listen, right? So he's like, yeah, but I want you to know to not stop. Don't stop. God is using you to help other people. You are blessed, right? And then he said some other stuff. He also said some other stuff that I can't remember. But it was crazy that he said that to me, man. It was crazy that he said that to me. And, you know, I thought nothing of it. Really. I mean, I thought it a little crazy, but I thought nothing too much of it. And later on in life, you know, things start to piece together. And I think not even later on in life. And the next year, I started picking up. I guess I started opening up my Bible app, right? Because now I want to know some things. I'm like, I'm asking questions. And I'm like, yo, God, what? You know, I started to ask questions and I wanted to know some answers, because I wanted to see what God thought of things, like, you know, the things that people would say to me, like, you're this and you're that. So now I'm opening the Bible app and I started to type in these things that people would say about me. I ain't even gonna lie, this is really how I started to open the Bible. And I started to, you know, read these Bible plans, man. Back then the Bible plans was a little different, because I think that's when the Bible app had just started, the brown one, the U version. But I was, you know, looking up stuff like anger and, you know, sadness and some other things I was reading in the Bible app. And I started to learn, like, yo, these things, you know, God is saying a lot, but it's not very similar to what people are saying to me. But he's helping me understand in a way better way. So that's when I started opening the app. But then, you know, me and that girl broke up. Me and my daughter's mom get together. This is a bad relationship. We get together. I'm still trying to get closer to God during this time. Because, you know, my realization of God saving me and protecting me and all that. But me and my daughter's mom are two different people, so we start clashing a lot. And, you know, that relationship ended up not being good. We ended up having to end it. But after that relationship, man, it's like everything clicked. You know, I really start to look at myself, and I'm like, yo, I got to change, because I want to love people, but I don't think this is love. Like, I really do, and I don't think this is love. So I'm like, God, I need change in my life, man, because looking at all my life, yo, you kept protecting me and saving me, but I keep running into this issue. And one of the issues also was sex, right? Was really sex. So as soon as me and my daughter's mom broke up, that's when I really got in my Bible heavy, man. And that was in 2013, right? Now I want to say this. I also got baptized. I did get baptized when I was 14. So when my grandparents started making me go to church, I got baptized then. And that's crazy, because that's exactly when I guess that's where, not even I guess, I know that's why God kept protecting me and saving me, because I got baptized and my grandma kept praying for me. But I needed to change my life fully. So when me and my daughter's mom broke up, man, I guess God used that and he used my daughter. So now I'm like trying to get closer to him. I want things to be better, man. I want to be a good father. I want to not respond in a specific way. I want to understand things that I don't understand. I want to be a good father, man. I want to be a good man. Like, so now I'm in the Bible heavy. And another thing that happened is I actually started to choose to not have sex anymore during that time. That's when it came to my mind. It's just so crazy. So I'm gonna just end it there because I know that was a long story, and it's more that I could say that I couldn't even remember from that. So this is gonna be my testimony part 1. I'm gonna have more that's gonna be specific situations. It's not gonna be all drawn out like this, but I just want to say, y'all, God saved my life, man. And I always say, my grandma prayed for me and God saved me, right? And I'm sure it might have been other people praying for me, man. But for some reason, God just kept saving my life, and God ended up changing my life. And now I got a strong passion. I have a strong passion for him because I'm just a passionate person anyway. I'm sure y'all can see that. But, now because of my life, he's literally wants to use me, right? He wants me to give others what he's given me. He wants me to tell y'all what he told me. He wants you to also tell others what he's given you. He wants to use your life, your story as a whole blessing, no matter how bad you see it, no matter how hard it's been, no matter the struggle that you went through, man. The struggle, he wants to use that to bless somebody else, man, right? It's not a bad thing, man, because it's so crazy. I used to think so bad of myself, man. I used to think, don't nobody like me. My family don't like me. People think that I'm bad. When I got kicked out of school, I thought, the teachers don't like me. I thought the basketball coach didn't like me. I didn't even try out for basketball no more because I thought every other basketball coach would see me that way. I literally thought they was looking at me that way. So I was a little afraid of that. But you know what? That whole story, man, somebody else needs it, man. It's other little boys and girls going through the things that I'm going through. It's other little boys and girls going through the stuff that you're going through. It's other grown adults that went through the things that you went through. And God is like, look, I love you regardless, man. He told me he loved me regardless, yo. People literally, man, teachers tell me I ain't gonna be nothing. Like, when you hear that in songs? No. My life, I remember, I think it was like 11th grade. I had a teacher tell me that I wasn't gonna be nothing because I was cheating in class and all of that. I literally, out her mouth, she said that. I started to work extremely hard to pass that class. I had to prove that lady wrong, right? And I actually ended up getting a B in there. But again, this is the end of my testimony. I want y'all to know that God loves you. God loves me. Yo, use your life to bless others, man. Allow others to see God through you. That's what our life is for, man. I thank y'all for clicking on the video. I thank y'all for watching it all the way through if you did. I know it might have been pieced up and everything, and I might have been long-winded. Forgive me. But I want to say I love y'all. I have given y'all a piece of me, man. I hope y'all can understand me more as we go forward in these videos. And, I love y'all. I love y'all for staying here. I love y'all for listening, man. God loves you. I do too, man. So thank you. Please hit the subscribe button if you can, and click the next video that I know I'm about to have up here. I don't really know what video it's going to be, but click the next video and continue to walk on this journey with me, man. Continue to hear what I got to say, man, because again, I'm doing reactions. I'm going to do some funny videos, maybe some challenges, some other things, but we're going to talk. We're going to talk. Stay with me. Walk with me. subscribe, hit the notifications so that you're notified when my videos come. Thank y'all. I love y'all.